Please give our guests a round of applause and welcome them to the stage. Are we all feeling good? Thank you very much.
All right, so we're the people mostly working with the Ethereum times like national IDs. So and then we're going to talk about like where our sorts, so like our experience, like our in past few years. So like, can you explain yourself first from the honest?
Yes, hello everybody. Super happy to be here today. I'm Yanis. I'm a developer and working at PSE and developing Anon-Aadhaar, which is Aadhaar is like one of the biggest identity program in the world. It's a residency card that is signed, and we are letting people generate a zk proof that they are the owner of a legitimate signed paper.
Awesome, thank you. And Mike, please.
Yeah, hi. Really great to be here. I'm excited about this panel. It's going to be really good. I'm Michael Elliott. I'm co-founder of zkPassport, and we allow you to use your government-issued passport, scan it into your phone via NFC, and then because it's been attested to by your issuing government, you can generate zero-knowledge proofs to selectively reveal information about yourself to services.
Awesome. And Florent, please.
So nice to be here today. My name is Florent. I'm working on open passports, and kind of similar to what Michael just explained, we're working on making it super easy for people to scan the NFC chip in their passport, the real government-issued passports, and then to do zero-knowledge proofs of specific stuff. So for instance, they can prove that they are above 18 or 21, or that they are from a specific country, or just that they have a valid passport.
Awesome. And Hiro, please.
Hi, I'm happy to hear. I'm Hiro from MynaWallet, and MynaWallet is the smart account that operated by the government-issued ID in Japan, MynaCard. So with MynaCard, we can sign on any data with tapping the card and enter the PIN code. So actually, our smart account verified with MynaCard. So yeah.
Awesome. And lastly, my name is Nico. So I used to work in the MynaWallet, and right now I'm working with Open Passport, and I'm going to be the moderator for the sessions. Okay, nice to meet you. And firstly, I want to ask about like there is two different projects working on the passport. So like, what's the difference on your what's the difference of your two projects?
Good question. I think we kind of started independently, maybe Michael and Theo more in the Aztec ecosystem, and we were more like supported by like PSC and WorldCoin. We've been collaborating on everything we can, like sharing code basically, and making sure that we can like be in this very positive sum ecosystem. We're even like discussing like sharing the like registry for all of the certificates that the countries publish to make sure that we can have like the same base of truth for all passports. Yeah, we're fully open source. My guess is that you guys, from what I understand, have like open source some stuff, and maybe you're more focused on like Aztec and making a wallet on Aztec now, if that's accurate.
Yeah, there's a good summary for sure. So we actually started using CIRCOM circuits 6 or so months ago, and now we've moved over to Noir circuits, and I believe Open Passport's also switching to Noir as well now. There's a big overlap with the two projects, and yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity to duplicate work and kind of work together to share circuits. With zkPassport, we've got a strong focus on UX, and that's kind of like one of our main driving forces. With regards to Aztec, it is sort of agnostic. Aztec have obviously developed Noir, but that's sort of decoupled from the Aztec network. And then we'll be using zkPassport with Obsidian Wallet, and that's more so focused on integrating with Aztec as a wallet. But yeah, I think there's definitely opportunity to collaborate, possibly even maybe we could merge at some point down the road.
Yeah.
Joint efforts, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And I guess like zkPassport and Anon-Aadhaar is like used to like when you issue the debit card ticket, you can get like a discount when you like have like a national IDs or like a Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that was a wonderful integration. I really enjoyed building that out.
Yeah.
We utilized some of open passport circuit to that, which is a huge help. And essentially, if you were from Southeast Asia, you could get a discount on your DevCon ticket. And so the approach that was kind of going to be used was the status quo is you send a photograph of your passport in, which is a horrible UX. And so with this, we built out an integration. You could just scan a QR code, go through the flow. You would prove just your country. And if from Southeast Asia, then you'd be able to apply a discount voucher to your checkout and get a discount on your DevCon ticket.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So firstly, I'll ask you to Yanis, like, how do you think about like why we need national IDs in the Ethereum ecosystem?
Yes, like if we go a level higher, I would say that we need a way to like privately signal ourselves like as human, because like some very important primitive need anti-Sybil mechanisms. I would say that what we are doing with this project is one way to solve this problem.
Yeah.
I think that it should be pushed super hard because like there is a ton of signed data that is like again out there and that we can like snarkify and make it compatible with publishing it like on a public network such as Ethereum. So yeah, I think it's really important because for now it's like one of the most practical way. Maybe not the way that you can like have something that is global, shared by everybody in the world. Because like you have this requirement of having signatures.
Yeah.
But I think that with this logic we can tackle like maybe, I don't know, like a good chunk of humanity. So
I think as time passes, more and more governments are going to start attesting digitally over this kind of information and credentials. Like you mentioned the other day, things like university degrees. That's going to be a great one. If you have a bachelor's or a master's, that can be attested to and then verified in zero knowledge.
yeah, but then the question is that can you trust them?
Hopefully the government can trust the universities and then you can trust the universities and there's like a chain of trust.
Yeah, but I would say that, yeah, in some places maybe you're not like because all our projects makes the trust assumption that a government will not use his private key to sign fake identities.
Yeah.
So it's a very strong assumption. It works like in most of the region of our world, but in some region it could not be the case. So you need alternative, like when you can't trust the government.
For sure. I think the advantage of e-passports, at least in this situation, is because it's being used by governments to protect their borders, you get that same level of guarantee. So if one government kind of just goes rogue or starts minting e-passports, it's going to be obvious to every other government, and they'll kind of be like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? Which is kind of like a protection mechanism in that regard. But degrees may be less serious, so they could do that.
Awesome. Like you mentioned about like we can utilize like not only the national IDs, but like we have like a driver's license, like a national degrees, like the college degrees. But like, do you have any idea like how we can integrate those IDs into one IDs, or like we can just use like those IDs in a separately, like like it depends on the situations. Or, like, do you have any thoughts like we can just integrate or something? Yeah, Florent, you can.
Yeah, so I think the point that Yanis touched is like important, that we're all making these trust assumptions on the country.
Yeah.
I think that the problems that we're trying to tackle, like Sybil resistance, are actually quite hard to tackle. Like there's no really simple, straightforward way to make sure that someone is a real person online. It's kind of like the meme of on the internet, you can be a dog and nobody knows you're a dog. There are some teams that are trying to use biometrics, but it's still very hard because they have to ship their device everywhere because the current phones that people have are not accurate enough for biometrics. I'm not even really sure how much different attack vectors there's on all of this. So I think what's interesting about the work we're all doing is that we just take those existing signatures, we wrap them in ZK, and we make sure that they're easily verifiable on-chain and off-chain. And then we make this kind of bet of there's going to be a lot more signatures in the future. Governments are going to sign things, companies are going to sign things, universities are going to sign things, and maybe at one point we have enough attestations that we can start to have a really reliable identity layer or general aggregated system in which if one actor starts behaving in the wrong way, like a government like printing fake passports or like a university doing something, then it's not that bad for the overall system. A bit like Gitcoin passports, you might know how it works.
Yeah.
It's like this system for Sybil resistance, for quadratic funding, for airdrops. You can add different like Web2 accounts and it gives you stamps. And that's kind of the way I think about it. It's like in the future, if the tech is mature enough and it becomes super easy, maybe thanks to zkVMs, and we can like run them on phones and everything, that would be great. And it's like mature enough so that we can take all the signatures that are going to be emitted and use them. Maybe at this point we kind of can break the trade-off and have everything at the same time. Have Sybil resistance, privacy preserving proofs for everything, and still have the reliability that you would have, that you would need.
Sounds an awful lot like you were sort of, what you were saying there was a layer 2 for identity to some extent.
I'm not saying that needs to be a layer 2 or like, but like probably some kind of system that has a common standard. And we've had discussions about standards. I think it's kind of hard right now to know exactly what are going to be the standards because we're all like trying to figure out what's the best way to use those things. And I think the standards that's going to emerge is probably not something that will have been like discussed that much, but just the one used by the end user product that's going to work the best.
I think just to get in here quickly about the collaboration part, there's such an opportunity for a shared registry, whether it's like the certificate root registry, where all the country certificates are kind of combined and shared across like Rare Remote, open-passport, zkPassport, and other projects. It's going to be very helpful.
Awesome. Okay, so like Florent, you firstly mentioned about like compared to the world, like using the passport and national IDs, like less effort to realize a Sybil resistance. Like for example, in a passport, like how reliable, like when you prove the proof passport, like this is a Sybil resistant or
This is a very good question. So passports were originally not really made for that. We're kind of just taking them and reusing them for other things. So there's actually 2 levels of security in passports. Pretty much all of them support the basic level, which is there's an attestation in the passports, and you can read it and then you can verify it. The kind of problem with that is that anybody that reads your passport once can just take this attestation, store it, and then make proofs afterwards and like basically impersonate you, so that's not great. But a lot of newer passports now have this better security mechanism, which is active authentication, in which the chip inside the passport actually has a private key and makes signatures, so you can like send a challenge, make sure that the challenge is like comes from like a valid source, like for instance, it could be like RenDAO on-chain or something like that. And then you can make sure that the person really has the passport in hand at this point. You can even like challenge the person every 6 months or something, or every transaction. So that's something that we're excited about. It's kind of, it takes a lot of time for countries to ship that because, you know, like renewing your passport is not something you do every day. But maybe I'll add something. So even with this better security mechanism, you still can't make sure that the actual person behind the passport is the person who owns the passports. And one thing we're really excited about is trying to use biometrics, not exactly in the same way that Walt is doing it, but more like maybe having a kind of face ID that matches with the photo of the passport, because the photo of the passport is actually in the chip, and it's actually signed, which is really great. So if we can, like it's probably too early to use ZK with that because zkML doesn't really work right now in terms of performance for client side. But if we can like have some kind of cosine similarity or like matching system with like convolution or something in the TEE, that could make that could be something that makes this all more reliable, and we're excited by that.
Yeah, so it'd be really great to be able to like check like a face fingerprint from your passport photo, and then you could scan your face with your iPhone, and then you could compare those 2 face fingerprints in zero knowledge to prove that you are the person on the passport at the time that you use the passport. Really exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So like you mentioned about like active authentications. So like in the other ID system, like in the Aadhaar system, do you have any like those kind of active authentication features included in the Aadhaar system, or like?
No, well, no, like, yeah, so sometimes, I think it's the case for Myna, like the government is not signing like just the concatenation of like your identity attributes, but sometimes they're like giving you a key pair that they are attesting that it's yours. And you can use this key pair to like authenticate and identify yourself. In the India stack, there is no such mechanisms. But to go back to the theme question about like how can we rebuild like an identity? I think like with Anon-Aadhaar, we tried to. There is this app called DigiLocker where you can store all your documents, official documents like driving license, degrees. So we make the exercise to like try to figure out what could be like there is this idea about self-sovereign identity. So what could be like the SNARK sovereign identity? How could we like use all these pieces of data and like use it? So it's very new. We developed like this circuit like in the past few months. Very exciting, excited about it. Like to see like what type of usage it's gonna be like unlocking. So,
I heard like you're using like a QR code issued by the government, and you check the timestamp or something, and it can be like an active authentication or something, like.
Yes, so it's not active authentication, because active authentication is like the fact that, as Florent described, like you can send a challenge to the user, and he give you back a signature. No, but so this mechanism can like you can make sure that the person behind the screen has like actually the document. And you can send like regular challenges to make sure he still owns the document. No, in the case of Aadhaar, like the cool point is that inside of the signature you have like a time step of when the data was signed, and we are using it like as a time-based one-time password. So meaning that at the verifier level you can set it up and you can create your own logic, and you can say, oh, I want to verify your signature, like a snark proof of your signature, but I want like this data signed like less than 3 hours ago. So, like it's a proxy to know if the user has access to like the platform where he can generate his
so like it's not exactly the active authentication, but you can still check the like a timestamp when the signature is issued or something.
Yes, it's more like you want to make sure that the person behind the screen has the document and has access to like the official platform and has the credential and because like in India it's like mainly like OTP, so like a connection through SMS. So you can make sure that he is the owner also of the phone.
My understanding of this is to be able to get back your Aadhaar, if you've, so for example, lost it or you need it at that time, you can request one and the government will be able to SMS you a link to be able to get it again.
No, it's not only used for recovery, it's used like for authentication.
Right, and you leverage that to be able to prove that you are the person at the time.
Yes, so for example, like for the app we developed for the DevCode discounted tickets, we wanted to make sure that the proof was like generated less than 24 hours ago. Because otherwise, like a QR code, like I can drop my card like on the floor and I can like...
it's like a liveness check through one-time password.
Okay, awesome. And in the Myna case, you actually have like active authentications.
Right.
And like you use like also like for active authentication, they can actually do like make a signatures, and then you can like hack the features and they can make an account of Oxygen Wallet, right?
Yes.
So like, what's your experience about this?
First, I need to explain what is Myna card in detail. So Myna card is the NFC card, NFC type B card, and there is a secure element inside. So there is two RSA key pairs, and to sign with this card, we can tap the card and enter the PIN code like a credit card. So this is so we can generate the signatures, and then we directly verify the signature on chain, like ERC 4337 smart contract. That's why we can generate a smart account by this card. And also, as we talked, the government provide us kind of a liveness check API so that we can directly create this transaction. Also, we have directly verify that the user is actually existing residence in Japan.
Okay. And like you have like a AA wallet from that card, right? Like how do you have any thought about like a privacy, or like how do you have any idea about like how those keys are used in a AA wallet?
Okay. So we leveraged the current PKI system for the identity verification of the miner card. So to verify the signature from miner card on chain, we need to store the part of the public key on the certificate in the miner card on the smart contract. So actually, so this is a PKI system. We leverage the PKI system. The mapping of the electric certificates that includes the public key and identities. Government can related information. So yeah, actually the government can track the ETH users' activities on chain. So that's kind of a privacy concern. But Nico, you did the
I know. Yeah, so like basically the MynaWallet is like AA wallet, and like they generate their wallet address from the public key inside the miner card. So like the government, as the hero told us, like there is a mapping, the public to the your identity. So like the government can track like kind of brute forcely, and they like brute force, like kind of brute force, and like they can detect, or like I'm using this wallet address or this wallet address. Like for our general public, they don't really have like the list of like a public key to like my identities. So like we can protect the privacy for the general public, but still the government can track our identities. And there is some kind of technique to hide our identity even from the government, but it only works for the RSA key, especially for the RSA some kind of padding scheme. But like in near future, like a MynaWallet will turn right now they're using the RSA, but they turned into like a ECDSA. And like in the ECDSA, we need to input like a random value to make a signatures. So like we cannot use like those kind of technique. So like we need to like in the current version we can think we can have like a solution to hide from the government. Like in the ECDSA, we need to figure out like how we can achieve like a privacy from the government. Like I think you have a kind of thought like should we actually need to hide our privacy from the government, or like
depends on the government, I suppose.
I'm sorry?
Depends on the government.
Yeah. Or like maybe like there is some people want like it's okay to reveal like privacy to the government because like there is another privacy wallet named the EOA. So like it's fine as long as you're using the EOA. You want to be a private. And like you want to do something with the government, or like you want to pay tax or something, it's okay, you're fine. Like I can reveal the government. So like I think this is because like right now the MynaWallet is generate their address from the public key, I guess. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it depends on the use cases.
Yeah.
Because if you want a private address, you can use your any EOA, right? But yeah, our solution, our product is for like not for people like us, people here, because they can choose which address to, or which on purpose, which you can check, so.
So like you're more focused on like a more mass adoption, not really. Right. So like firstly you just like think about the mass adoption and think later about like privacy or those things.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
Just kind of zooming out from what we're talking about here, I think one nice way to think about it is everybody has their own FIDO, or like even like hardware wallet that's issued by the government, allowing them to sign over data themselves. But you've still got that chain of trust back to the government that's been, just issued it to a particular person somewhere. Some are kind of weaker signatures, so like the ePassport, the active authentication that Florent was talking about earlier, that's RSA 1024 bit, so you can only really use that for kind of like very short time periods with a challenge request that maybe like a few minutes. That was the intended purpose at airports, and we're leveraging that existing infrastructure. But you can still do that, but any longer and you risk people being able to break that through brute force attack on RSA. But the great thing about the Myna card here is that because it's like kind of like a national ID card issued just in Japan, they've used the same standard, which must be amazing, not having to integrate so many different signing algorithms, and you get this really cool functionality coming out of it that's the same across all of the cards.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like, and do you have any thoughts about like, so right now you are verified RSA signature on-chain directory, right? But like, in near future, like MynaCard turned to be like a ECDSA, like a 384 bits, and it's gonna be very expensive to verify an on-chain. Like, do you have any thoughts on like this one?
So one idea is to raise the kind of EIP something like that to
Yeah?
at the
Make a pre-compile. So like you are kind of stick to like a verify the low ECDC signature on-chain, or like do you have any idea on like using the zk or something?
Yeah, that's one.
One option. Okay. So I guess like also like creating a zk proof for those kind of long, like a very like a heavy signature on the zk proof, but like. Also, like in the passport, there's so many like a signature algorithm I use, and like there's so much variety, and it's crazy, right? So like, do you have any idea? Like currently, like RSA is fine, but like the others, like, do you have any idea?
Yeah, so client-side proving for zk has always been kind of challenging. One of the main reasons is that teams that are working hard on zk are often just optimizing for big beefy servers because this is what the roll-ups are doing, and so this is what the incentives are. Because it's roll-ups, you got business tokens, things. But like we're doing kind of client-side proving on people's phone because there's no way we're like sending people's like passport data or like personal data anywhere else.
This is a must-have. It must be all generated locally on the device.
Exactly. Yeah. So historically, CRCOM has kind of been the way to go. We've switched between different proving stacks, like the Polygon ID one, MoPro, that's been great too. I think Noir is becoming kind of more of, maybe it's going to become the new standard. And I think what's really exciting with Noir and really great for passports, for instance, is that all those different countries have different signature algorithms, and so it's super hard to support everything in CRCOM because you have to write a specific program, a specific circuit for each of them. But with Noir, you can have easy recursion. That's not too like that doesn't have too much overhead, or you can just delegate this overhead to a server that does not see the private values because you do smaller proofs locally. And so it's way easier to have a system in which you're going to split the proof into smaller like pieces that you can do locally that only have like small like requirements for RAM usage and for like bandwidth, and then recursively verify them like server side on a big beefy server and then post them on chain or do whatever you want with them. So that's something we're super excited about.
Yeah, on mobile, you're really limited by memory, so you don't want to go beyond 4 gigabytes. And so the larger your circuit, the larger the memory requirements. And so the design that we've created in Noir is we have these sub-circuits, A, B, C, and D, and each sub-circuit is responsible for a different part of the verification process. So sub-circuit A, for example, verifies the authenticity of the, so it basically verifies the root certificate of the country has signed over the intermediate certificate. And then submodule sub-circuit B verifies that the intermediate certificate has signed over the e-passport data. Sub-circuit C verifies the integrity of the passport, and finally D discloses the data that you want to selectively reveal. And so this modular approach means that we can, if there's different signature algorithms for, say, the intermediate certificate, we can kind of, when we generate the proof client side, you can pivot through the different sub-circuits easily and kind of like route through to whatever the passport requirements are for the signature algorithm. Some countries even have a variety of different algorithms, and the biggest challenge we have right now is adding support for more and more signature algorithms to maximize compatibility. Yeah.
So what's the point? Like, what's the mostly the difficulties? Like you mentioned about the memory usage, or like the other things. Like, what's the like a bottleneck in a client-side proving, or especially the iPhone, like whatever. Like.
I think currently the two main bottlenecks are RAM usage and then load speed and everything. Because with like CRCOM and Grow 16, what we are using before, you need to download this huge file to be able to do zero knowledge proof. It becomes very tricky when you have like big circuits. But with Noir, it's kind of more manageable. And I think in the future, the end game of all of this is probably zkVMs. And you might already know about zkVMs. It's like very easy to use. You can just write your code in like some normal Rust.
Like Aztec?
Right, Aztec. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I'm thinking more about like zkVMs like in Rust or something. But yeah, Noir is kind of similar to Rust, and Noir is like already easier to write than other like DSLs. But yeah, maybe in the future you could just like natively import your Rust library that does RSA, like literally the same one that's used everywhere, and then directly like verify, like do proofs on phones. But right now we kind of looked at the performance and it's not quite there.
Like I heard like your kind of experience with the SP1, which is zkPM. Do you really think like zkPM also be used for the client-side proving, or like?
One day.
One day.
One day. Yeah. Right
One
now
day.
it's a bit. Yeah. Right now it's challenging.
Yeah. They have?
SB1's great. It's a nice UX to be able to just develop natively in Rust and not even change the interface for your crates, because there's like pre-compiles in the SP1 crates. But because they're Starks, the memory requirements are way too large for client-side proving and mobile currently. So maybe S2 could reduce those requirements, but currently I think Snarks and Noir is the best approach.
Okay, awesome. And Yanis, are you also working with the Noir, or like you're turned into like Noir, or like you're just like what's your plan for like so like those like RAM problem or like zk problem?
Yes, so we have the same bottlenecks, which is like client-side proving. So we are exploring like what could be the next step for client-side proving, because I think that this type of protocol, especially like in the case of India, like you want to like distribute them like broadly, and we want like have like the lighter prover possible, but also like a proof that is succinct, so we can use it on chain, because we think that the main use cases would be probably on chain, because it's there that where you need like the more privacy. We tend to see like from government side that you can have like they are like more listening to like privacy issues and selective disclosure. So we really want like to have like a light prover, but also have succinctness, so we can like prove on chain. And yeah, I think like main of the exploration, as Flora and Mike was speaking about, is that maybe one solution could be like to have like a proof that is very fast to compute on the client, but not succinct, and then send it to a server that can make things succinct without learning like what were the input of the computation. That's one way. And us, like on our side, what we are doing is that we are exploring. So there is no end game for now. There is no perfect solution. So we are trying to have our implementation in like a different language. Like for example, we did implement our circuit in Hello 2 because we know that some people are exploring like a Hello 2 GPU acceleration. So that could be like an interesting path.
Have you explored Noir?
Yes, Noir, and I think Noir is more like in the, Noir is committed to ship backend, so like it's more secure that to bet on Noir, because like you know that maybe if there is a new interesting backends, the team is dedicated and they will ship it. So yes, for now we will stick to Grow 16 because for us it's the best, but of course like we want to see like more exploration in the client side proving. I think there is a lot of money spent on server-side proving and trying to optimize zk for server-side. But I think that for privacy, we really need like to have efficient client-side proving. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And you're talking about like mostly the use cases is like on-chain. Like it's also like our like kind of ID system can be used like off-chain, like eKYC things. Like, do you have any thoughts on like off-chain use case?
I think you need both. Like. As an application developer, you should be able like to tackle any environment where you want to check this proof. So
I think especially if you're revealing, like for example, your full name, date of birth, that's not something that you want to publish on chain for eternity. This is perfect for a back-end proof for some sort of service to verify.
Yes, yes. UX-wise, it's hard, but yes. I mean, UX-wise, like maybe the end user like doesn't know like where is sending.
That'd be horrible. Could you imagine? Just publishes it forever.
So yeah, that's why like no, it's an interesting question about selective disclosure, because on the case of Anon-Aadhaar, we could have like implemented it like in such a way that the developer can set the prover to say, oh, I want you to reveal your first name. But as like we are very early, we were super precautious about selective disclosure. And only, like our prover is only able like to disclose information that if you disclose all of them, you can be in an anonymity set that is like large enough to not be de-anonymized.
So you need to be selective about disclosure.
Sorry?
You need to be selective about selective disclosure.
Yes,
so to say.
that's kind of a security because, like, you know, like it's quite early and we don't want the chain is immutable, so we don't want like a developer messing up.
There's no
and, like,
Control Z on blockchain.
Yeah, yeah. So no, we need to be very precautious about that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So like as I mentioned about the off-chain, like our ID system can be used in the real world, and recently like a MynaWallet did some kind of real world experiment. So like, can you explain about like your experience with it?
Yeah, just recently we conducted a real-world demonstration MynaWallet in a rural area in Japan, which is called Yamakoshi, Niigata, Japan. And Yamakoshi is very unique, where the DAO is actually working on regional revitalization. And in the demonstration, participants range from children to the people at the age of 18, and there we demonstrated a tap to pay by USDC, and actually there are people could make it to pay by MynaCard using the USDC because they don't even know what's going on the background. They are using what the blockchain is working, or they are paying by USDC, but they have the mental model like tap to pay because its mental model is totally same as the credit card.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this demonstration we realized that real world use case is it's very important. UX is very important, and actually this is interesting because Japan's Minister for Digital Transformation, Mr. Tyler, is actually very interested in our demonstration, and he actually came to our demonstration and created his smart account.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So like the Japanese our digital minister are interested in like our cryptocurrency or like Ethereum.
They are very
technology or
open to the
adopting.
new technology.
Awesome. So, so you have some communication with the government. So, like, do you have any pressures or government? Like, I heard like a very positive side. Like, do you have like any like a negative side from the government?
Yeah, negative side. I think they are very open to new technology. So we had a lot of conversation, and of course there's several regulations to utilize this card.
Yeah.
But they are so yeah. But yeah, we can talk and we can
Yeah. So like you have like more like a good discussion with the government.
Right.
Awesome. Okay. So like if the government is like more friendly to us, like more friendly to like our like a zk friendly or like Ethereum friendly, what do you want to expect from it?
So one thing I'm very excited about, but it's also very long term, I guess, is compliance in general. So right now, if you look at the compliance frameworks of most countries, you can't have any privacy, right? If you do KYC to create a bank account, to create an account on an exchange, you have to send basically all of your data, and it's going to be kept, it's going to be stored for monitoring so that the government can ask for any of your data afterwards. And when you think about it, it's actually really bad. Like there's
horrible UX.
It's kind of horrible. There's like often leaks that leak like all of the private data of everyone. It's like really sensitive data. You can do crazy things with it, like get SIM cards, bank accounts. And also it's not really secure anymore because now with generative models, you can just like generate whole databases of like fake people and just do KYC. So right now, it's not really like compliant according to the current like standards to do privacy preserving proofs, but there's some interesting explorations to do, I think. So for instance, one thing we recently prototyped is you can do a zero knowledge proof that you're not on the OFAC list. So you might know about the OFAC list. It's like the US list for sanctioned entities. They have names of a lot of people and everything. And you can like scan your passport and do a proof that specifically you're not in this list, thanks to like a non-inclusion proof in a sparse Merkle tree, and then send it when you do a transaction, for instance. And this could be integrated into like a DeFi protocol or even the base layer of an L1 or an L2. And what this would allow is to have this kind of system in which you know that the person, at least at the time, is not on the OFAC list. And I think this is all pretty much kind of like explorations now, but it looks to me like compliance sometimes can be a bit more flexible, and there should be a kind of like middle ground we can find in which for some transactions it's actually fine just to do this, and that would be great because, again, it's like breaking the trade-off. We get the privacy and we get the freedom at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a journey, and I think we're going to be able to like explore this and just sort of see how governments respond and how regulators respond to this. I think a really amazing use case for what Florent just described is you could have like a private USDC where you have full privacy, you can transfer it around, but every time you transfer this USDC on a private network, like Aztec network for example, you're generating a proof that you're not on the OFAC SDN sanctions list, you're not from a sanctioned country, and you could even implement logic where there's this nullifier that's unique for every passport, and then it allows you to track privately that you haven't exceeded some super generous limit, like for example 100,000 USDC per month, and that means that it's going to severely mitigate any kind of like bad actors from using this protocol and this token. And so when you come out to an exchange to off-ramp, users can sort of have this certain guarantee or at least some sort of comfort that they're not going to be banned by that exchange, whether it's Coinbase or Binance or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's really going to help satisfy regulators that, yeah, this is really mitigating bad actors from using it, allowing people to have privacy, full privacy, and eat their cake and have it too.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm super excited like to again like push this idea forward, like distribute it like to a broader population, because then like maybe we can have like at some point like some voting at a scale of a government like using this primitive.
Yeah.
I'm also super like interested about like how you could like resolve a full identity, like all your documents, like boring use cases.
Yeah.
I had like to fill a visa file like recently, and everything was in my email. So maybe it could have been like zk email proofs.
zk email proof.
Like yeah, like more like generally going toward like something like where you can compute something on your hand, and like just send like a succinct proof. Also, yeah, on the government side and like this technology, I think there is like 2 ways to see that. Like one optimistic way would be like, all right, so if the government can de-anonymize me, is it a feature or is it a bug? I think there is no like strong answer to this question for now.
Depends on the government, I suppose, again.
Depends on the government, but like you can imagine like then in, I don't know, 10 years, maybe we were gonna have like airdrop from the government and like maybe like
yeah, that's
happens
great.
sooner than
That's
you
great.
think.
yeah, like maybe just being able to identify and receive like CBDCs and like have like universal basic income is like, I think what we are building is like could be like a base ground like to build that. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you think like a universal basic income happens? Like it could be like a paid in a blockchain, like it could be paid in a bank account.
It should be paid with CBDCs, yeah, and you just can, I don't know, sign a message or like just send a zk proof and then you can redeem your money. Yeah.
Okay. So like you live in Europe, right? And you have some kind of identity system in Europe, right? Like how the situation in Europe, like eKYC, like how those IDs are used in Europe or something?
Yes, so I think like last April, like the European Commission like voted on like the fact that zero knowledge will be like a solution in the future, like for privacy preserving identities.
Yeah.
So they did like a tender proposal where they like called every project that were interesting like to help them like build their identity wallet that they want to launch like around 2030, sorry. Yeah, so like Europe seems to be like listening to like all these privacy issues. I mean, it's Europe that basically did the GDPR, so yeah, we are like maybe slow on innovation, but good at regulating.
Well, like,
but,
I guess like Europe is like more interested in like privacy things. Like they're more care about like
yes.
privacy or like compliant.
Yes. And also like there is I'm sorry, I don't remember the project, but Europe also have like a project about their own blockchain. I don't know about it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. But yes, they are interested like into this technology for the good or for the bad. We don't know, but at least like if tomorrow we can sit on the table, they will know what we are talking about.
Okay. So and like, do you have any idea that we can actually like enable those IDs right now? Like, do you have any ideas for those what kind of ID we can like enable right now? Or like, do you have like idea like?
I think the most present use cases are stable resistance in general, whether it be for quadratic funding, for airdrops. Yeah.
Okay.
I think for us, we're excited about being able to have zkPassport as this open source, public goods identity infrastructure. We're building out Obsidian Wallet to kind of dog food that, and we'll be integrating zkPassport in as identity in like at the wallet level. So you'll be able to have it as like a first-class citizen that exposes an API to dApps to be able to request identity proofs and compliance proofs. So you could have, for example, USDC token requests that you have these different compliance checks, and then the wallet, Obsidian Wallet, it then manages that completely and generates these proofs behind the scenes. So I'm excited about that kind of integration and being able to use it more and more with Web3 and dApps.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, okay, so like there is so many things like we can consider about like our wallet, like our identities, and like there's a bunch of use cases for those like national IDs or like for example civil resistance or like listed on the alpha crest or whatever on the eKYC. So and there is a bunch of more like national identities, like the identities which is signed from some kind of organizations, especially of course in the East, in the CEA area, definitely. Also in Europe, definitely like there is e-identities. So like it would be great, like everyone working more identities is like coming to the Ethereum. Okay, thanks so much for our panel. That's all. Yeah.
Insightful conversation that we had. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'll be throwing a few questions to Nico, and then you can distribute accordingly to our speakers.
Okay.
I'll be reading the most voted comments. Okay. You can also scan on the right to throw in your comments right now, and so I'll be reading it word for word based on votes. The first question that we have today, which is the most voted, is what are the business model for each of your projects? Government identity is typically a government service that people expect in exchange for paying taxes. Who would you like to take the first call?
I guess you can try again.
Yeah, I think we don't really have the same value proposition as government identity. Right now, we're mostly like repurposing government identity for other stuff. Yeah, I'm not too worried about business model. I feel like if you do something that's very valuable and that has some kind of like platform or network effects, you shouldn't be too worried. That's my take.
Yeah,
also, okay.
I was going to say, sort of answers the question, but one thing I think would be great to discuss is, if you think about thinking about identity in general, who would be the best entity responsible for attesting to your identity and your credentials and who you are as a person, your name, birth date, this kind of stuff? It's the same entity that issues you a birth certificate. And so if you change your name, for example, who do you go to? It's the government, as opposed to like so it's like state-attested identity versus corporation attested identity. Yeah.
Yes, and in the case of Anon-Aadhaar, it's a PSE project founded by Ethereum Foundation, so we don't have like any business model. It's a public good and open source. So.
Right. How about MynaWallet? I guess it's
MynaWallet is a wallet, so it can be kind of fee model, right?
Fee model. Okay. Fee model. Okay.
All right. Heading to the next question. The most voted one as well. One of the challenges of presenting government IDs remotely is inherence, i.e. how to prove that the presenter is the same person the ID was issued to. How should we best do this?
One of the challenges of the presenting the ID name.
Yes, so in the case of Anon-Aadhaar, it's like the same mechanism we spoke about. Like we are using the timestamp to actually ask for the user to generate fresh data on the official platform. So it's a proxy that he has like also the credential and like the SIM card that is like enabling him to authenticate. So that's how we are solving this problem.
I think the face fingerprint is also a really great way to do this if you have a photograph that's signed over by the government.
Yeah, so like using the photograph or like a timestamp, or like if they have like a signatures, can make active authentications. Also, maybe like a name and like address, like correspondence, and you find like a relationship. It's like one identity have like active authentication, and the other identity doesn't have. But like we can have like correlations between them from like a name or like address or something. Yeah, I think this is a
PIN code, I suppose, for MynaCard.
Yeah, PIN code. Yeah.
All right, heading to the third question. Why should people use open-passport if it relies on government data? People will stick to the current method, and it's more convenient for now. Is there a way that doesn't depend on government data?
Well, people will stick to the current method. What's exactly the current method? Like, for instance, if you want to do an airdrop or or like CBIL resistance for quadratic funding. This is an actual issue that people have actually had, and I think most people know that even today, like on Gitcoin grants, you kind of see that some projects have come some have some like kind of weird behavior with regards to the like donations. So yeah, I think basically what we're trying to do is we take what's working right now, which is government ID, and we repurpose it so that now we can use it in a privacy-preserving way on chain. For the kind of things that we're trying to address, I don't even really see an alternative.
I guess it's also like they're asking about like our passport is used in the real world, right? But like how they turn into open passport used in the real world.
What do you mean?
Currently, they have like some kind of infrastructure using the open, like a passport, right? Like, I guess they are asking about like how they start using the open passport instead of current infrastructure.
Like in the real world, like in like at airports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the airport thing is a bit like compliance. In the future, if regulatory frameworks change, it could be just like compliance. You maybe could just do like a proof of a specific stuff. I do think it's like more down the line because like national security issues are like pretty, yeah, like not keen on privacy right now.
Yeah, I guess like the difference is like, it's like we are using a zk. It's like we don't have to reveal all the data into the passport, but our current system, we need to reveal all the things. So like it's a difference.
Yeah, I think privacy is a very compelling.
Yeah, privacy. Yeah.
Wrapping it in zk. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to squeeze in one more question before we do a final wrap-up of each of your minutes.
Okay.
The final question is, has anyone developed hardware, like a kiosk, for these forms of ID for users without devices?
I think here, you did? Okay.
No, but I was about to say that it's a very interesting area. Like I had like some chat with some hackers recently, and we had this idea about maybe for a hackathon project, could be cool like to recreate this airport gate, but with an Anon-Aadhaar proof. So you can scan it, and the hardware has like the verifier component inside of it. So yeah, I would say that there is a bunch of stuff to do like with hardware and zk proofs.
Awesome. I think like a Hero did like it's like you previously, not before the MynaWallet, you worked with like an NFT gateway or something, and also like you're using like kind of hardware with like a MynaWallet, right? So.
Especially in MynaWallet, this is an NFC card. So if the device can be communicated with like NFC, so it can be, we can build a kind of kiosk device. But in Myna case, actually the specification of the NFC card is not open source because this is under the NADA.
Yeah.
So we can,
Kind of like we reverse engineered the Myna card, and like we are using the card, right?
Before we start, there are several people too.
Several people did, and there is some document about the Myna card, and you are using those documents. Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay.
All right, as a closure to the session, I'd like to do a 1-minute wrap-up for everyone else. Perhaps we'll start with Yanis and go all the way to Nico to do a 1-minute wrap-up of your projects, your takeaways, etc.
Yes, so at PSC we have a Discord, so please pass by the PSC website, go to our Discord. We have like a proof of citizenship channel. If you have like, if you see some chip on your identity card, if you see some QR code somewhere, try to scan it, try to read it, see if there is a signature. That might be a high chance that your identity could be snarkified. And like, please reach us, and we can help you. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's very important for this trust infrastructure to be, non-profit, credibly neutral, open infrastructure that everybody can access. And yeah, I think that's what we're building out with zkPassport. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, we also have a workshop at midday today in Classroom B, I believe. So if you want to check out what we're building, please come by, bring your passport if you have it. If not, that's okay too. And we're going to be going through our SDK and showing you how you can essentially recreate the DevCon integration that we made, where you can request, specify which credentials you'd like to request from users, and then the entire flow is taken care of, and all you get back is a zero-knowledge proof that you can then verify and use however you'd like.
So yeah, same thing for us. We have a workshop today if you want to come by and see how the whole flow looks like, if you want to try out the SDK or the app. I'm super excited by the future of what we're doing. I think one thing that's kind of been underexplored is there's a lot of different ID systems now. I think some in like Brazil, some in Malaysia, a lot of them also in Southeast Asia that also have signatures and for which the public keys for some of them might also be available, but this is just something that looks like nobody has really explored deeply. And I think the more of those government standards we can snarkify and the more conversations we can have with regulators about making those standards more zk-friendly and more open and more like common across countries, the more this is all gonna accelerate.
Thank you for coming today, and yeah, so I couldn't tell about a lot more about detail about the MynaCard or MynaWallet. So we have the kind of session at have 4 p.m. today. So if you're interested in it, please come to join us.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, so like I worked the MynaWallet, and also I'm currently working on Open Passport. And from my experience, like there's still some problem because like those government IDs is not issued as supposed to used on the blockchain, like as supposed to used on the ZK. But there is still space we can work on a lot. And it could be like useful. Like it's definitely like a future. Like in the future, like we need some zk like privacy, those technologies we needed for those IDs. So like it's kind of early right now, but it's not early. But I think like we have a lot of things to do, and we can have like many things to experiment.